showing you what we can do. And we're gonna make it to the top. We're gonna give it all we got. It's our time to shine. It's Sip and Speak the Tea with D&D.
Hello, Milwaukee and everyone else.
Yes. Welcome to Sip and Speak the Tea with D&D. I'm Denise.
And I'm Danette.
Coming to you from Milwaukee. What flavor tea we have today, Danette?
Okay, today we are going to taste blackberry sage.
Okay,
Blackberry sage.
Sage. I wonder if it's the same sage being dressing.
Right. Mm.
But it's fruity like with sage.
It's sweet,
But it's got...
but it's got that's not the regular sage that really tastes like in dressing, but it's got a hint of, there's got to be the sage though. Maybe like a little hint of sage. But it's really sweet, like with the blackberry. It's got that sweet blackberry fruity type
It's not
taste.
that bad though. But I thought it was gonna be worse.
It's
not bad.
I didn't know really what to expect, but hey, it's okay.
So I suggest you try it. We suggest you try it.
Right.
All right.
Let's
people,
get into it.
You see our thumbnail, we might as well talk about what's happening in our own backyard. We talking about everybody else's. So, and our backyard is not clean. People, we got this Maxwell Anderson trial going on. So we have to talk about what's going on in our backyard too. It's only fair. Definitely. We can't be biased, people. So.
A lot going on and have been for decades.
For decades.
For decades. It's been.
Yes.
Milwaukee is. I don't know, with its crime, we kind of, and it's not a good thing, but we're kind of hanging up there with the much larger cities.
Wow. And we're only talking about our county. We're not talking about the other counties. With the serial unalivers. We're only just talking about Milwaukee where we stay. And the first one we wanted to talk about was briefly was Van Dyke. Yes. And he was a black male.
David Van Dyke. And this, I never heard, I don't recall this story. I don't recall him at all. And I was just kind of shocked. But David Allen Van Dyke, and what he did, he unalived people between July of 1979 and April of 1980. And he unalived 6 people, and there was one woman that survived. There was one survivor and 6 that were unalived. And what he did, he actually would lure his way to people's homes by knocking at their door and saying whatever and asking to use either their phone or the bathroom. That's how he gained entrance.
Wow.
And people actually let him in.
They did.
Let him in. Now, I don't understand that part.
Me neither. Because you ain't getting in my house. I don't care if you use the bathroom side of the house. You're not getting in my house. Right. I'm not letting them strangers in.
And that's how he got in. And he would use objects within a home.
Within their home?
Within their home to bludgeon them or beat them. So, beat them till they're unalived or puncture them.
Wow.
Till they're unalived with their own
objects in their own house.
Yeah. And once he unalived them, he robbed them.
Oh, wow.
Unalived, then he robbed them. So, and I was just really taken back by that. But he was convicted in 1981, and he had received 6 life sentences in 40 years.
Wow.
Plus 40 years.
Never see the light of day.
And that's good. I wonder if he was the first black man to be a serial unaliver in Milwaukee because
we didn't even hear about him. And it's only brief, information about this.
Right. It's just an overview. This is just an overview, but and like I said, I was shocked because I don't recall hear anything about this at all.
Wow.
So that just kind of got to me because I actually thought that Walter Ellis was the first. I really did, but here we go.
Here we go.
We have one from back in 1979 to 1980.
And people, everything we say is alleged, and for entertainment and educational purposes only. But us speaking on this, because this stuff is happening in our own backyard, and there's a couple of other trials going on. Everybody know about the Diddy trial. Everybody talking about the Diddy trial right now. So we decided to talk about what's happening in our backyard. But listen to this comparison of these unalivers. And you tell us, what do you think? Okay, that was one, and he was a black male.
A black male. Yeah.
And we barely heard anything about him. There's only a brief, a summary of him, and he's incarcerated in War Pond.
Yes.
Yes.
He was incarcerated.
Yes, and he's about 66 years old right about now.
Right, but he is deceased.
He's deceased? Okay, he was 60. Okay.
He passed away. As a matter of fact, he passed away in 2023 in May. May of 2023.
Okay, it's kind of recent. Okay.
Right. But the thing of it is that there wasn't really too much said.
It was brief, and there's no documentary, no movie, nothing.
That was just unreal. Like I said,
nothing about the victims. I mean, there's no documentary or no movie, y'all. But check this out.
Now we're gonna get.
Now we're gonna get into some more.
Jeffrey Dahmer, the infamous Jeffrey Dahmer, and who I think everyone in the world knows about Jeffrey Dahmer.
And why is that, Jeanette? Because there's a documentary and a movie, and there was so much exposure.
Yes, a lot.
So much.
But why?
I think it's more than one documentary.
Oh yes, they got a series. I think they had like a series or something.
Yeah, and two movies
of Jeffrey Dahmer. Yeah, like
in series.
Just like, oh my goodness, what?
And he basically died a millionaire, and his father.
Yeah,
and basically died a millionaire. He had a lot of fans, and basically had when he was unalive, when he passed away, a millionaire. Certain things we can say. I had to X that out. He passed away as a millionaire, people. Because he had got so much exposure and he had so many fans, and I think that was one of the reasons why the guy that was that unalived him, I think that was one of the reasons he said he did it. So he say because he had so many fans and he was getting rich behind it.
He really did, and some of the women, oh my goodness, they act like they were so infatuated with him, and I didn't understand that. But there was some women that were actually infatuated with him. And just to go back, Jeffrey Dahmer, he unalived 17 men, probably more than that, 17 men and boys between the year of 1978 to 1991. And he mostly like sought out and went after like the black males, Asian males, and Latinos. He'd meet them at the bars, the malls, or the bus stops, and he would lure them back to his home for cocktails, which he would use substances that he would put into the cocktails.
And excuse me.
Yeah. Lure them home by.
And there was a mistake made with the police department with the Asian guy, right?
Oh,
they gave him, they gave him back to him.
He came running out
bleeding and from the behind.
naked. Yep.
And I guess they were so afraid of AIDS or so or whatever, or their relate, what was going on with that scenario, and they didn't want to catch anything,
Right.
and they basically handed him
Back
back
over.
to him.
Yeah. I think if I'm not mistaken, allegedly that it was
Allegedly.
being said that it was a lover's quarrel.
Because they didn't want to get involved with that
It was a lover's quarrel.
because
So
he was bleeding from the
mhm.
behind. Oh, they didn't want to have nothing to do with
They
that.
didn't think about getting him medical attention or
Mm.
anything. They just said, "Oh, okay, well, we don't want anything to do with that. So here you go."
So much exposure. Now listen, people. So much
Oh,
exposure,
real.
and also they tore down that building. They tore down that building. Um,
Yep. And you know what he did? Like once they became unalived, he then would have intimate acts with them with the corpse.
Also,
Ugh.
he put
And
some of their body parts in acid and stored them in a
and he,
refrigerator. And
right.
there's a little
He
story.
kept them as souvenirs.
And there's a little
hmm
story I have. My one of my baby daddies told me
That's not funny when you say like that.
one of my baby daddies had a story to tell. Him and one of his friends had met him at that bar, the bar on 27th Street by that pizza place.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been in the bar a couple times too, but had met him, met him in the bar. Him and this guy. That was back in the day, in the using days, and he went in. He met him and his friend met Jeffrey Dahmer, and Jeffrey Dahmer offered both of them to his house, and that was surprising that he will offer two people. You know what I'm saying? He will offer
hmm
two. So he told me the story, and he said he offered two of them to go back to the house, and he wanted to take pictures of them and party. He said. So I said, "What did y'all do?" He said, "Well, we went." And he said all of a sudden, they ran out of drinks. And Jeffrey said, "I'll be back. I'll go get something to drink. I'll get the I'll go get the drinks." And that was
Drinks.
strange to me. I'm saying he left y'all in his house by himself. He said, "Yeah." And I and
Yeah,
I,
that's
I got something
weird.
to say about that. I got something to say about that too. And I said, "Well, what happened next?" He said, "Well, he took a long time coming back." I said, "Well, really?" And then he said, "Yeah, he took a long time." So his buddy said, "Man, I'm finna go." And he said, wait, before I'm gonna bag this up, before they got there, I think they was up to no good trying to go, both of them going up there anyway. I don't know what they were planning on doing to them, but they know
Yeah.
they had the power over 'em, so allegedly, I just know I'm my baby daddy, but I ain't gonna tell you what they did, but probably plan on doing. It was two of them, and he had money too. So anyway, so his friend left, and then I said, "You stayed by yourself?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "How long did you stay by yourself?" He said, "Maybe a half hour to 45 minutes." I said, "You lucky, you lucky, he didn't come back." And then I said, "You didn't go look in the refrigerator or walk around?" He said, "No, I just sat there and finished
Right.
my drink, waiting on him to come back." I said, "What?" I'm like, "You
That's
lucky
crazy.
he
That's
didn't
crazy.
come back." And he
Right.
said he ended up getting a phone call. He answered, and then he had, something else went down where
hmm
he, where where party was going on, and he just left and shut his door. And I'm like, you know what? The reason why he probably didn't come back. He knew he couldn't deal with both of them.
I was just about to say that. It had to be a reason.
Mhm.
It had to be a reason. Because why would he, and why would you leave two
Two people
strangers
at your
in
house.
your home?
And you don't know if they searching your house or not. That's why he didn't come back. Because he probably was thinking all kind of stuff. Is they searching around my house? Is they finding stuff? So he never came back to the house. And he left anyway because he probably figured with the atmosphere, he was filling them out and probably figured he wasn't going to be able to overpower both of them.
And he probably counted on being gone for so long. He probably counted on them to leave.
Exactly.
To leave out on their own.
They leave out on their own.
Yeah.
And hoping they didn't call the police and had searched anything and hoping they didn't call the police. But I just had to tell y'all that story. But
that's crazy. But yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer, he was captured in 1991 and then he was sentenced to 16 life terms in prison. 16.
And he used his money to get them too.
Someone unalived him in prison. Someone unalived him, and he ended up passing away in November of 1994.
People, a millionaire.
Yeah, I wonder because his dad is still living. I think, right? I think his father is still living, and I believe he's living
real good,
wealthy,
real good,
very wealthy. That man made some money. He made some really good money
by Milwaukee blowing him up,
and that's really sad.
Giving them all exposure.
And you didn't hear much.
He got more exposure than the victims.
I was just about to say that you didn't hear much about the victims at all,
and especially because of their color. Y'all decide.
Right.
Majority of them were black.
Right. But it was for the families to speak up on their loved one, though, too, and I guess they really did. I mean, there was
maybe probably from embarrassment too. Didn't want to speak up because they had it all out, real stereotyping that they had to be, G, you know what I'm saying? So they didn't want nobody thinking their family member was that way. When I know my baby daddy wasn't that. I know that. Right. But they went on some bull anyway. Right. But probably from the stereotyping.
Well, I will give it though to Rita Isabel because she did speak out on behalf.
She did, and she was on our show.
Yeah. I will give it to her because she let it be known when she felt that he was lured back there, but she had no record of thinking him of being gay,
right,
or anything like that,
right.
And
I don't figure if you. They're not hurting anybody. I don't understand. And from the embarrassment, but I can't blame them in a way, and in a way, it comes to a point of time you have to say something because I did the same thing from embarrassment, didn't want to speak up. So I kind of can understand a little bit about that too.
Yeah, that's true.
So I can relate.
Yeah. It's unfortunate for all these victims, though.
Yes.
Yes. So, and with the families and stuff had to endure.
People, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, people.
Yes. And watch and hit the like. And please feel free to comment.
Yeah, if y'all want to join in on the convo, the numbers finna scroll down the screen, 414-215-0729.
Yeah, give us a call or hit the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Love to hear from you.
Okay, y'all. We just working our way on through. So, next one. Walter Ellis. Mr. Walter Ellis. And this one, of course, touches home. So maybe a little bit difficult for Miss Denise to speak on what's actually seeing the picture. So we'll just show the picture for a second, and if you don't mind, you could take it off. Just take the picture off. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Yeah. So that one, of course, touches to home. And Walter Ellis was known as the North Side. Can we say that word?
Yeah,
Oh,
Northside
South
Strangler.
Strangler. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so he was known as the North Side Strangler here in Milwaukee. Now, they said that he unalived at least 7 women, but I was under the impression that it was way more than that.
Oh, it was supposed to be
Eh,
8. It was supposed to be from there now.
from what they're
From
stated.
what they say, it's
Hmm.
supposed to be 8 women, and he ended up unalive where he couldn't get charged with all of them. But it was said that he unalive over 27
27.
women.
Right.
A lot of Jane Does.
Right. And he committed these crimes between the year of 1986 to 2007. And he got arrested in 2009 and then get convicted until February of 2011. I don't understand that,
Well, yeah.
but that's how that went. And then he did receive 7 consecutive life sentences without a chance of parole.
Well,
So,
he had a bad record. He was in and out a lot. And most of the women were black, and he unalive a white girl. She was underage, and but the black women were portrayed all pros
mhm,
and crackheads, but the white one was portrayed just as a runaway, which that's not true.
mm.
Now, y'all, what do y'all think?
What do you think? Is there a picture that we can show from the Fox 6 clipping? I don't know if it'll come up large. So that'll show you 5 of the women there that were unalived by Ellis.
Yeah, and they didn't really start looking for him, which I already knew they had an ideal. They knew who it was. Um, I have to say allegedly, but they had no idea who. They claimed they didn't know, have an ideal, but I believe they did. And until the Caucasian girl got harmed and unalive. And that's when they really start looking, because now y'all in their backyard.
Right. And what's crazy is, besides the little articles and stuff like that that they put out, you didn't hear much about this case.
No.
If you speak on it now out in the streets and you mention this guy, people don't know about it.
Yeah, they don't
They don't know
no
of this.
book besides mine, no documentary, no movie. Why is that, people? Why is he's not getting getting the same exposure, the Van Dyke guy or him? Getting the same exposure as Maxwell Anderson and Maxwell Anderson allegedly for
Yes.
only for now, and Jeffrey Dahmer. Why? Why, people?
Why is that? Here in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
And allegedly he was an informant,
Mhm.
and I believe that when every time they got close to looking at him, every time something one of these unlives occurred, when they get close to looking at him, he would turn another bust in.
Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, I
And
think
all
it's just really sad though how this was never really spoke about, and the people really standing up for all these victims. It's like their lives didn't matter and they
exactly,
swept it under the rug.
exactly. But yeah, they never the victims, long as they was our color, they didn't matter. But when that white girl,
Mhm.
a woman, a young lady, passed, that's when they decided to do something. and they swept all like the victims all under the rug,
Right.
too. Besides the actual unaliver. And also they had so much exposure in books and documentaries. Why is that, people? Why is that? And
And it's just so much more too to this story.
yeah, and he
So
actually
much.
tricked the Milwaukee Police Department. He actually paid his cellmate uh
For his
for his
DNA.
DNA. And then got let out. And then also when I went down there, they didn't even let me do a lineup. Next thing I know, me and my counsel called down there, and they didn't let him go. So they say, but I didn't even get a chance to do a lineup. And old people, the goodest one, my credibility. Oh, I wasn't credible.
Right. They swept you under the rug.
And swept me up under the rug.
Yep. And that's the sad part about it, because if they would have taken you serious enough and would have
Correct.
done something, some of those lives could have been saved.
Correct.
Because some of these women were unalived after
Correct.
he tried to unalive Denise.
Correct.
So Milwaukee, I don't know, you gotta have some shaping up to do in this system.
Exactly. And
'Cause-
I felt bad because of the embarrassment. And I knew what they were gonna do to me. And I already knew they was gonna say, have my credibility in question. I already knew that because of what I was out there, and I was like, I had no business out there. Yeah, but that don't give nobody right to unalive me.
Correct.
And if I wouldn't have said nothing or wrote this book, it'd have been totally swept under the rug. And I had to do something for those women because I couldn't sleep at night.
Right.
Once I sobered up, I couldn't sleep at night.
And then they also convicted falsely convicted two other men.
Correct.
For some of the crimes.
Correct.
In which you can elaborate more on that, because you had to do a deposition.
I did a deposition.
Mm-hmm.
Shantae Oates won $6.5 million, I believe, from the state of Wisconsin. And the other one, I have to come back with that because I don't want to give an incorrect amount.
Right.
And they got in the Innocent Project program, which a lot of black males got arrested for this crime, and they were innocent. I think 3 or 4. It was 4 of them, I think.
It was 4 altogether?
Mm-hmm.
I know of the 2 that mentioned that you had to do.
I think it was 4 of them
that got them out.
that they was trying to blame for it, and 2 really got incarcerated for it. Over 12 years.
That's sad. And I think they knew who was doing it all along.
I strongly believe in my heart. And you know why? Because when the police came to me and had me to actually point him out, they were trying to sway me from not. Are you sure? Could it be this one? Why would you do that? And of course, when they did that, I got afraid. Like, why is they trying to sway me away? What's going on? I'm like, oh shit, I'm finna bag up my body of this.
Yeah.
It was such a scary feeling. And it's so many questions people I have, and nobody wants to answer them. Even the lawyer company that came to me from Chicago, that came to me to do the deposition, no one's want to speak anymore. No, nobody want to say nothing, and it just bothers me.
Yeah, like they just closed the door and they won't open it back up, regardless of. And it's just like, I just think it's like almost like a scandal. Like there's really something big behind it
just
that
ain't
they're
right.
hiding.
Something just ain't right. It just ain't right. And also, people, they had disclosed. They had put a disclosure on. They had sealed my file, and that only I could get a lawyer to open it up, and I did, people, and they didn't even want to give the lawyer it, where I had to get an ex-senator that became a friend of me and Danette's in California.
A former senator.
Former senator that became that we end up friends with, to pull his weight and his power and say, hey, give me that file. And what we got was some gibberish. And I know that's not the file that what I said. That's look like a 1-year-old said that. It's not what I said, but I did see the original that the people from Chicago had. I couldn't read it all because I cried when I first seen the first paragraph. I cried so hard. But that's not the paper I saw. Right. The paper they gave us was some gibberish, people.
And you could barely even read it because it was like really black and like gray and stuff. Correct. And I'm like, who have documents like this?
Correct.
This not no court documents.
Why would you seal a document like that?
Yeah, that it was.
Why would I have to get a lawyer for a document like that? It is so many questions, people, I have. It is so many questions, and no one wants to talk.
Right. And I just hope, even today, if the families of these victims just start speaking out, ask questions for you to also have closure. I don't think they even
because I think they're embarrassed or something and just don't want it focusing on me. It doesn't matter what they were doing. It doesn't give nobody right to take your life. And I had to say something. I had to speak up. And the scrutiny and everything else that I have to go through, I just had to go through it. Because their lives matter too. And they could have straightened their life up just like I did and sobered up.
Yeah. They wasn't given a chance.
They didn't get that chance. They didn't get the chance to live their lives and get the chance to sober up. They didn't get the chance.
They didn't get the chance.
And their lives matter too.
County failed them.
They had children.
Milwaukee County failed them. Have failed. There is no way in this world. First of all, I mean, just the whole case within itself. I'm saying, people, this is a story that, especially for all the Black, African American, all the minorities, I really urge you to really get into this story. Bring exposure. Let's get answers.
Let's see what they do with this Maxwell Anderson case, people.
Help Denise.
Let's see how they treat this case.
Yeah. And
he's already starting to get a lot of exposure. I'm surprised there's not even a book out or a documentary out yet. I guess they just waiting a little while.
Well, it's been a lot. No, it's actually been so much exposure on this case with Maxwell Anderson, with the unaliving of Shade Robinson. It's been on for weeks. And I mean weeks. Okay. And I'm not talking about the trial.
They already got a lot of exposure.
I'm talking about
more than Van Dyke or the Northside Strangler. He already got more exposure than him already.
Right.
And the defense is saying wrong place, wrong time. Wrong place, wrong time. Yes. Everywhere that phone tower picked up the phone, picked up on the phone, Maxwell Anderson walking past. Mm. How much wrong timing can it be?
So
in place.
People who are unfamiliar, which you should be familiar, but just in case if you're not, here in Milwaukee, Maxwell Anderson allegedly unalived a 19-year-old young Black American woman by the name of Shade Robinson. First date. That is Shade Robinson. Pretty young lady.
Yes.
She worked.
At
She
a
was in
pizza restaurant, and she was working to pay for her schooling. And she
right,
was just a few weeks from graduating.
right, yeah, and in school. She had her own apartment. She had her own vehicle. She was doing her thing. She was doing her thing. And they had their very first date. They met up, went out to dinner, then left from dinner, went to a bar, left from the bar,
They
and
went to Fisherman
unfortunately
Restaurant, to Duke's
to
down
Duke's bar,
Town,
right, and then back to his
his home.
home, which he lived on the south side of Milwaukee. From then, she was never seen again.
Yes, and his longtime friend, which Anderson dad, which he's a millionaire allegedly.
Yes, he is.
His dad was his baseball league, little league coach, and his friend from back when had moved to Texas. He come back. I mean, he came back because he saw Maxwell Anderson put a post up on Facebook that he was looking for somebody to rent the unit downstairs. And he answered it because he wanted to come. He had graduated from college, so he wanted to come back to Milwaukee and find work, and he did. And the first red flag was Anderson didn't show him the unit he was renting. He showed him his unit.
Yeah.
Okay. Then he said for a year, which his friend is named Pete. I call him Pete and Pete G. And he said that Anderson told him that he had put $40,000 down on his house, and he said, which I already thought anyway. He said I wouldn't believe it because I didn't believe it because he couldn't even keep a job. He couldn't keep a job. He only worked 2 to 3 days out of the week, and he couldn't even work at his own family firm, allegedly because he couldn't perform. He didn't want to work. His family
Not at
he
all.
couldn't even work in his own family firm. So he's just from bar to bar, bartender from bartender to bartender, partied a lot, and he couldn't keep hold down a job. How can he hold down that house? People,
How?
because of his dad. His dad
Exactly.
being an enabler. His dad,
His dad knew. I think his dad knew.
yeah.
And I don't,
And-
in no doubt of my mind, well, this is my own opinion and everything is
Yeah,
alleged.
this is our own opinion.
But I do
everything
believe
is
this
alleged.
is not his first time around.
No. It's not his
Come
first.
on, people, wake
it's not
up.
his first
Not
time
his first time
arriving.
around.
And women clothing was found in his house that wasn't hers. And when we first heard when they went down his basement, there was blood that wasn't his and hers. They haven't got to that yet, or they haven't mentioned it yet. But it's
Right.
supposed to been blood down there that wasn't his or hers. Who blood was that? Is they looking for
Exactly.
these Jane Does? No.
I don't think there's going to be any further investigation. There might be,
because they
but
no,
they
they're
haven't
not.
mentioned it. No, I said there might be,
Yeah.
upcoming, but they haven't mentioned it up to this date. There hasn't been any more other investigations for any other body.
Yeah, I was told when I did the deposition that maybe you wouldn't get anything, but maybe you'll help these guys that have been incarcerated. And I did it for that, and I did it for the children that lost their mom. I did it for that, and I did it for. They said maybe they'll resume some of these bodies. And these Jane Does, so they can be named
Right.
instead of unnamed. I did it for that.
Right.
So no, I don't believe they're gonna worry about other DNAs.
So the Anderson trial that started on May 27th of this year. So it started, and the prosecuting attorney is Ian Vance Curzon, and the defense attorney is Anthony Cotton of Cutler and Cotton Law Firm. And there's also been, I think, a Jason Finley. A Jason that has been mentioned and shown.
And I have something to say about this Jason Finley. It's just weird.
I think that's how
Was
you
you
pronounce his last name.
was you able to? His name Jason Finley. Was you able to find out, was he a paid lawyer? The other guy with the small face.
Well, this Anthony Cotton, he's of Kutchler and Cotton law firm. So he has a law firm. I don't know.
And yeah, he's a paid lawyer.
He
I
has to be
believe
paid.
he got his own law firm. He's a paid lawyer. People, how is he? He can't afford a paid lawyer. His dad, he can't afford a paid lawyer. But I tell you what is strange. The Jason Finley, I've talked to him before. Guess what he really specializes in, people? People with mental illness. What do y'all think about that? How do I know that? Because I had them for my daughter had them because she's dealing with mental illness, and to get her put in a mental institution. People, I think if he gets convicted allegedly, you want to say something? They're gonna work to put him in a mental institution instead of prison. Because this Jason Finley guy is real good with that. He told me so. I talked to him. And ain't that strange that Jason Finley will work with the paid lawyer? Just keep an eye on that, people. Keep an eye on that. Okay,
Right.
what you gonna say?
Because I was trying to see like where you going with this. So some things kind of rung a bell to my way of thinking, that I'm thinking like, well, mental illness, okay. So, what is they gonna try
Not
to
doing.
go
Not
for?
they going
For
for the
insanity
Winnebago Mental Institution.
Right, for insanity.
Exactly. Exactly. Because he told me he specialized in it.
So yeah, I was
Why would
listening to you
he,
with that.
the public defender, Jason, be working alongside the guy, the paid lawyer? Because Jason told me he specialized in it. Because he was working with me trying to get her in there. That was kind of strange to me. And when I saw him up there with him, I knew automatically.
Well, I'm just hoping
He can't afford to pay lawyer. His dad is enabler. You know your child, right? I know my children. I know each and every one of them. They all have their own character. I know what each one of them capable of doing. Right. Even if you want to admit it or not.
Know their personality.
You know their personality, and you know what they're capable of doing. People, moms out there, y'all know y'all children. And y'all know y'all children, even if you don't want to admit it or not. And you know what they're capable of. This is my version. Allegedly, my version. He didn't want to work. He can't keep a job. And his dad knows something wrong with him. And the deal is, son, I pay your bills and I keep you up afloat. Just don't come messing with me. Just don't come messing with me.
Or over here.
In this area. Or messing with us and our wealthy people. You know, there's your playground over there. Don't come back. Don't come up here or we'll cut you off.
Exactly.
And in my opinion, after this is over with, Sadie Robinson, your mom,
Sade.
What's her name?
No, I was saying Sade.
Sade. Oh, I'm sorry, Sade, mom. If you ever see this, I will go for his dad for being an enabler because he couldn't uphold that house. Instead, he knew his son. He know his son. And what he did, he paid his son and kept him afloat to keep him away from him. And you know what? And this only my opinion. And that was the deal. Stay away from me and over here, and I'll keep you afloat. He wouldn't have kept that house. He probably would have got help. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he enabled him to stay there. Pete G, his friend, longtime friend, said that yes, he gave the rent to him and he was the landlord, but he don't believe he couldn't have got that house. He can't keep a job. His dad was paying those bills. And another thing, people, the law let his dad come up in there and
Tamper
get
with
whatever they
evidence.
wanted out of that house.
Hmm.
Come on, people.
Now, when can you do that?
Where can you do that? Unless you
Tampering
got
with evidence.
unless you got money and power. And they said, oh, it's okay because if we need to go back in there, no matter, and he's selling the house. And if he go, we need to go back in there, whoever's staying there, we can just go up, we'll get a warrant and we'll just go back. No, why not do like you do other people? And not let nobody go in there and tamper with nothing in there. No
Right.
evidence of nothing.
It should have just been sealed off.
And tear it
Completely.
down. Because I believe that ain't his first one.
Right.
Tear it down.
Yeah, they need to be digging up the yard,
Digging up the
the
backyard,
basement,
killing
the basement
everything.
floor, and everything
Tear it
else. Yeah.
down and dig and see what's up under it. What's up under them poles and those, man, please. How he get in there? It was a crime done in my car. They confiscated I couldn't get in there. I had important stuff in there. I wasn't allowed to get nothing for 6 months.
Right. And I
How was they
wasn't
allowed? His dad was allowed to go up in there and get what they wanted. Got a trailer in there. They said they showed it. What's that trailer for? Well, his dad came and he's cleaning it out. Really, people.
Yeah,
Then
and they don't allow you to tamper with the evidence or anything. I mean, even in a situation that I was in, and he had me to dress completely undressed. Rings, the jewelry, shoes, underwear, everything. I didn't get anything back. And to this day, I never got anything back. I don't know if it's still sitting up, put up somewhere there, wherever the county, whatever the prison leave they evidence boxes and stuff. I don't know where they keep it at, but I don't know if it's still sealed to this day. But never got anything back.
And they allowing him to sell a house. Come on, people. Really, the house need to be torn down. Really.
Yeah, that's really crazy.
The money and power. Money and power. And that's why Sade, I hope her mom go after the dad for enabling his son.
Yeah, she needs to. I hope,
because he couldn't have got away with half of the stuff he been getting away with if it wasn't for his dad. Instead of getting him help, he enabled him to continue to hurt people. And the reason why I know, because I'm a kind of victim of it myself, or not a victim. I'm not a victim of it. I'm a person myself, my child, one of my kids are dealing with mental illness, and I'm guilty of it myself,
of enabling.
of enabling. Sometimes I just give her money so she can just go on, and I feel so bad because I just don't want to deal with it. So I already know what he's doing, but I am trying to give her help though. I'm doing my best. But you know what? If I had the money and the power, I could have placed her. But because I don't,
right,
I have to go through all these hoops.
But
he got the money to place him because he had the money and power to do so. But he chose not to. He just decided to enable him and keep him afloat so he could move around. Yeah. And
just
enable,
to keep him away.
From him, and he can move around and unalive people.
And that's exactly what he did to this
alleged.
Yeah.
Let's see when a documentary and movie come out too.
Right. So again, this trial has started. I believe this is on trial day 6 or 7.
Yeah, I think 6. I think it's day 6.
They
found 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
They found the latex glove that at the Walmart Park with blood on it. They have found he had 50. Who have 51 knives in your house? Then 4 big knife sharpeners. 51 knives in your house, scattered all over your house in every room. And allegedly, they said that the examiner said that she was cut, with something. It had to be in that. and look at all of those knives and that. Yes, and he had a good sharpener. He had 4 big ones,
But I just say,
allegedly.
the reason why I think this is not his first rodeo, and I say that because, for one, okay, so the defense is going by, and of course he pleaded not guilty, but the defense is arguing that it's too many holes, right, in the state's case, and that there's a ton of reasonable doubt because they're saying, where's the motive? There's no motive, there's no weapon, and a lack of DNA.
They didn't get no motive from the other serial unalivers.
Right. But I'm saying this is what the defense argument is. This is what they're going for. And so, and no actual witness, but there was witness to the arson of her vehicle.
Yes, the 2 girls.
And that should that should stand for a lot.
Yeah, the one of the girls said, you did it. You did it. And then you see him on the camera going on 35th, getting on the bus, going to the south side, and getting off 2 blocks from his house.
And those surveillances was very, very clear.
Very clear. They can't find his shoes or the camouflage backpack. Allegedly, those were where the body parts in, I believe. That was he was scattering with that backpack because they can't find it. When they got arrested him, he had a black backpack. It wasn't that. They can't find that camouflage backpack or his shoes. And his longtime friend Pete said that he liked to party a lot, 2 or 3 times out of a month. He said it got so bad where he was about to leave anyway because his friends would be drunk, drinking and knocking down pictures and acting a fool and all the noise. But that particular morning after they went on that date, he heard a suitcase coming down the steps. It had to be heavy, y'all. Allegedly, I hate to say this, it just hurts me to even want to say that. I believe he folded and put her in that suit. I believe that was her in that suitcase. And his friend was like, good, he finna go away for a while. Cause he had that suitcase was so heavy, he heard it boom, boom, boom. People. Then he got rid of his jacket 2 houses down. Luckily, it was a woman that didn't she wasn't hardly at home. She was a traveler. And the garbage man's didn't want much garbage in there, so they didn't even empty it and left it, and the detective overlooked it, but remembered when they seen that jacket he had on the bus, and remembered that jacket, went back and it was still there. And got the jacket. And it was wet. Remember, it was raining for those couple of days. He was by the water, and it was soaking wet with stains. Yeah. We'll see what those stains are, people, but they couldn't determine what yet about the blood on the latex glove. And he had 3 books of matches, a cigarette lighter, and a keychain with a light on it. He needed that light on it when he was it was so pitch black dark when he was at that Watermark Park. It was so dark. He was using that keychain to see, I believe, allegedly. And her car was used to bust in that gate.
Mm-hmm. And so, just to go back, so he did. Well, I'm not going to say he did it because allegedly, but her body.
It's alleged, but it's only our opinion. Right. It's only our opinion. But and we got the right to our opinion, allegedly. And everything we say is alleged.
Right. Her body was dismembered. And for her body to be dismembered with, let's see, they said that both legs was
the neck, cut, the head, the right breast,
the arm,
and one arm that was attached right arm. To the torso.
Right, the right arm was cut, but however, I just feel that she deserves justice.
Yes, she do.
And just asking the jurors, the prosecution attorney has done. Like, you have to use your common sense. They're going by circumstantial evidence. But listen, really pay attention and notice the pings on her phone with
They had
lining up.
They had that Life 360 on their
Right.
phone.
She had Life
luckily.
360.
Her
So
friends.
please, justice for this young lady, for Sade Robinson.
Right. And people, how far would you go to protect your children?
Right.
Really? How far would you go?
And I just say,
When
there
you
should
know
be
something wrong with your child.
justice for all victims from all these serial unalivers.
Yes. I want justice for all the victims.
Right. So I don't know. I think
And survivors.
Milwaukee has a lot of work to do, though.
Yes, they
in
do.
their justice system.
Yes, they do. Yes,
You
they
know,
do.
it's a lot of holes, and it just needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed. We have work to do because we're gonna have to do it as a community.
And where are our leaders? We don't even have. They have just. Where are our leaders here?
Yeah.
Where are our leaders here?
Yeah. But you people, we will continue on.
Yes.
With this.
Yes, we
and
will.
This trial.
And we're gonna keep an eye on this trial. People.
Yes, and hopefully we will be bringing more exposure to the Walter Ellis, to the case with Denise here, and her book, The Untold Story, the one who got away.
You can purchase at Barnes and Nobles, Walmart, Amazon. Please purchase and support, and then the funds we can pour back into Sip and Speak the Tea and bring y'all better content, people.
Right. So please, everyone, continue to stay in tune with us. And also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Sip and Speak the Tea
with D&D.
Yes.
And that's all for our segment, people. Until next time,
and
goodbye.
Be a blessing so that you too shall be blessed.
What music?
Okay, people. That's it. Okay. Be a blessing. Be a blessing. God bless you all.
Goodbye.
Make it to the top. We're gonna give it all we got. It's our time to shine. It's Sip and Speak the Tea with D&D.